live. We're live.
Welcome
Good to
back.
see you back, Matt. Good to see
Yeah,
you
that's
back.
right. I hate I missed it. It was a rough flying, but it was cool. I got in. I don't know if y'all saw, but the last few minutes I was watching. So
Yeah,
uh, so that was pretty cool just to be on the other side and watch and all that. But
it's good. It
I
was a good
missed
one
y'all.
last week for sure.
Yeah, y'all did it well. Y'all's guest was great. Devo just went AWOL, but
He gone. He gone.
he gone. He'll be back. All right, good topic tonight. I think it's a good topic and one that has actually been brought up multiple times
Yeah.
on here when we talk about social media and we talk about stuff like that, phones and everything. It's what do you do at the table, right? And how does the father's table work? And how do you, as the father, how do you kind of manage all that? Because it's you see it in restaurants, you see it at people's houses. Is that, man, do you sit there and you talk? Is that a time for connection, teaching, just to be present and all that? How do you handle it? So what do y'all think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
no. Go ahead.
Sure. I
Yep.
was gonna say, I mean, Hudson and I eat. When it's at home, yeah. I mean, phones are away. Like he'll try to pull it out of his pocket, or I'll get to pull it out of my pocket, and I'll look at him like if he's getting ready to, and then he gives me that look now, like that's just kind of our time to
Yeah.
connect, talk about the day. Because I think we all get so entrenched with whether it's social media or our phones or our emails or whatever. It's almost like we're that instant gratification, but it's like that instant reply, that instant we have to be on everything. And for me, that's just my time sitting, I'm sitting here and I'm sitting across from the table from him. And it's like phones are away. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I'll probably hear his, the Snapchat or whatever the heck it is, like, "Brr, brr, brr, brr." I'm like, is that you? Like, who's, and there's taking pictures of the light of the ceiling or whatever. But I think that's just it's just a way to connect. For me and him, we sit across, we cross from each other. So it's eye to eye and we can chat about school or ball or, whatever it can be. But yeah, it's a no phone zone for me. TV's on occasionally, but only one side of the table can see it. So if we have it going, it'll be there, but it's definitely that time to kind of connect and kind of let everything slow down for sure.
Yeah, I was telling you as we was coming on, that's probably the one area that we've got to get better at. And it just, one of us might be limping into the house and the others are eating, or, boys on survival mode, get some cereal because we didn't have time to cook or whatever. But even our best efforts, we got this nice little plaque right by the table that has all these little maxims about, say something positive at the table, no phones, good vibes and all that stuff. And we probably break 3 of the 4 rules that are on the thing. So it's definitely something that we have to be more conscious of. I think we're more aware when we go out to eat of trying to put phones up, or at least turn phones face down or whatever. We're really conscious of that. But then we went out last night and Ethan and I were like, hey, Dad, can I sit on this side of TV because Green Bay and Philadelphia are about to come on? So he's like, dude, I get to sit decide to see the TV. And now
Right.
we're negotiating for time. So we ended up sitting beside each other, put Mom and Evan on the other side. But we try to be more conscious on that when we go out. We should be equally the same when we're at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Devo?
Yeah. We don't eat together as much as we should. But when we do have that opportunity, which is probably at least 3 nights a week, we will sit at the table. Of course, we take turns praying. And then each person, like before we has to say something positive that's happened throughout the day, and then just try to connect on that particular level. Again, we allow our lives just to kind of run rampant, and we don't really keep it in the middle of the road like we're supposed to. Like when we first started, we were eating at the house every day, and we would always break bread together for dinner
Sure.
if we didn't break bread any other time, and just have conversations and try to open it up then. But yeah, that's definitely a push that I think is important for myself and for men to make it a precedent, make it a strong priority, that we get back to that focal time where the family has an opportunity to kind of recenter, reconnect with one another.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've mentioned this story before. Is there was a time when we sat down at the table. The kids were Braden was still in high school, Megan was in high school, and Lainey was in like 7th, 8th grade. And we used to have this at our dining room when we'd sit in there. We'd have, and that's where we'd sit when we were, all eating together. We had this little shelf in there, and everybody put their phone up on that shelf, and the whole time, man, the phones were just going. Zzz, zzz, zzz. I mean, they were buzzing away. It was crazy how much they're buzzing. But the craziest thing about it is after dinner, after we got done talking, got done spending time together, we were pretty good about it because it was rare, like you said, with sports and dance, and it was rare that we'd sit at the table and get to do that. But the craziest thing is Braden had a couple of messages that buzz. Lainey or Megan had a couple of more at the time, and Lainey, man, she had like 40 or 50, man. That phone was going nuts. And it was just crazy, the disparity between the three of them, how different it was. And for Lainey, it got to a point that at one point she was like, man, it's exhausting. And, how do you respond to all these people? And it was tough, So I think, we do a good job. I mean, I can say it right here. I mean, look, we're on this thing and I'm watching the Tar Heels, it's still going on. But Tisha and I
guilty as charged.
Look, I'm waiting on these Travis Scotts.
I got those on this screen over here. But but the crazy thing was Tisha and I just went to Chili's because veteran, right, Devo? We get a free meal today.
Brother sitting on full right about now.
That's right. And I had my phone sitting right up there, but both of us were watching it, So, but we do a pretty good job, when we're home. But that's the time. That is a great time to connect and really talk and catch up with everybody.
I think it's tougher to do out than it is at home. At least for me, because it's like, you sit there and you're like, all right, what do you want to eat? Whatever. And then it's that automatic, you order, and then it's like, then we're waiting. I'm like, well, dude, let's talk about something, or let's, what do you think about this? Or you got a game on or whatever. And I think that at home, it's kind of that sanctuary of like the rules matter in the bubble. And then you're outside the bubble and it's like, shoot. And then I catch myself doing it, or you see everybody else doing it, or you're with family, or, on a date, or you're, with friends or whatever. And it's like, man, it's sitting there, but it's face down. And I think I don't remember who it was talking about even having your phone even on the table face down. Because it's like, that's the importance to you, because you have it face down. It just means you're not seeing the notifications. But that one-on-one or two or three or however many people are there, that's still the importance, because it's there, it's seen, it's visible. So I even got to the point where if I'm, if it's just Hudson and I, or just like friends or whatever it is, like I'll try to set it down beside me, like off the table, just so it's not seen. So the other person, because I've been, I'm sure we've all been there. You guys would probably do it with me when we went to eat. Like, so you gonna put that phone away, even if it's sitting on the table, you're like, all right, it can be a distraction mentally if that's what you're used to. So I try to put it on the side beside me, like on the chair beside me, and just kind of give that undivided attention. But it's still hard. It's very, very hard, especially when we all work from it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, hate's a strong word, but I actually hate being on the phone. I'd rather be in front of somebody.
True.
Just spend that time or whatever. And I'm gonna be a hypocrite in saying that we're not on the phone out in public because we want to. It's just because I like when people are looking at us talking to each other. Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's kind of funny because it's always like they're talking to each other. Like they're just engaged. So it's kind of like an ego thing.
That's so weird. Why they talking?
Why they talking to each other? They came out and they talk. And it's crazy because it's funny that we go to people watch. They watch us. I mean. But we are truly interested. Like for instance, last night we had what's called student-led conferences where they let the kids tell you how they're doing in school instead of doing the teacher do it. And so we had one for the youngest, and because his grades came out, we took him out to eat. Well, I was like, look, this is late. This is time to go back home. And then the oldest was like, hey, you took him out to eat when he had his conference. I had mine. Let's go out to eat. I was like, oh, okay, let's go out to eat. But it was good for us we used that time to just follow up on the conference. It was just like, hey, what'd you learn from it? And I even asked him because, we struggled in one of the other sessions where I said, guys got to get this stuff done and got to stop turning stuff in late or whatever. I asked him at the dinner last night. I said, son, what are you going to do differently in the second quarter to turn your work on time and get things taken care of? And so that was good that we were talking about it. Digressing for just a second. Devo, you told me to get the shirt. I got the shirt. So today it came in. I didn't do 3M because I didn't want to get a lawsuit for having 3M, but I did an M3. And on the back, it has manage, maintain, and makeup. And so I passed it out to the boys last night. So we were all going to take a little snap, take a picture of it. But Ethan looked up when I gave it to him. He was like, oh, my God, Dad, you did that? How'd you do that? And so I said, that's Uncle D's idea.
That's cool.
Yeah, good stuff, cool. Brother. Good stuff.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think I was gonna say, sorry, man. It's like, that's, I think, a time sometimes to have those uncomfortable conversations, especially because, a teenage boy eats a lot. So getting them up from the table with food still on the plate, like, you can ask the tough questions, you can teach, you can connect, you can kind of be a different presence. For me, I know he's not getting up from that food. There's not but like a teaching moment for him. Like, we've all been there, manners, right? And some of us have good manners, elbows, all that stuff. But I tell you what, last night we were sitting here watching the football game, and we weren't sitting at the table. He was on one couch, I was on the other. I had made chili or whatever, but I literally felt like I was sitting next to some kind of animal that did not know how to chew.
I love that.
Like it was like a hippo, like crunching down on a watermelon over and over and over. And I turned and looked at him, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to take you to etiquette class. He's like, what? I'm like, man, one, I'm not gonna take it from you. It's just me and you, bro, and I got my own bowl. Two, why's your mouth open so, like, it sounds like so, like, I'm like, man, what are you doing? But teaching moment, I'm like, bro, like, if you're out in public or you're with even a school, whatever, and you're eating like that, nobody's going to want to sit. Like, I'm glad you're on the other side of the living room, and I'm having an issue with it. Like, who's sitting beside you right now?
You have ADHD, Josh? You have ADHD?
A little bit, maybe just a tad.
Because I read a study, and man, Megan, smart girl, everything like that. She is always like, you start making any noise eating, she's always like she just turns into this, and I'm like, you got to stop. But I read a study a couple weeks ago, people with ADHD, like that sensory you pick up on when people are eating.
But like my pastor does, and I hope he's not watching, but like he'll do like this like lip lick thing, and I'm like the whole time, which is fine with him. Like, I know your mouth gets dry and stuff like that, but man, it sounds like there's the whole bag of chips over and over and over. I'm like, what is going on? It's got to be the ADHD, like drinking it. Like, why?
So I was flying with a guy last week, and I thought this was interesting. We were actually talking about this topic. He has a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and they had gone out to eat. They had this other family have kids right around the same age, and they went out to eat with them. And the people are like, "Are you not giving your kids a tablet or whatever?" And actually said this to him. Well, don't you think that's kind of rude to not let have your kids have something and not be distracting to others?
Wow.
And so we were talking. I mean, he's like, well, what happened to the day like when you grab the coloring sheet and you sit there and color with your kids?
Tic-tac-toe, baby.
Yeah, tic-tac-toe. And he's like, that's what we try to do. We're still trying to hold to that for a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, Yeah. And that's exactly what the people are like. I can't believe you don't get, give your kid a tablet or something to distract them so they're not being rude to everybody in the restaurant.
Yeah.
That's pompous on them to have the courage to come up there and get at the table. I'm like, hey, bro, unless you're gonna pay my bill tonight.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, I think a new parent too, even because you don't want, and maybe that's the mindset, at least it was when my daughter was younger. It's like she's crying, so I'm now distracting everybody else. So then you try to do everything to keep not full blown fit like something's wrong, but just crying like a kid should or baby should.
Yeah.
But then you get around other parents and they're like, that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just feed them. They're hungry. They're tired. They're wet. They went to the bathroom, or they want something. So I think it's, in that generation now. And I mean, I think I did it at least too, of, watching a show or whatever, but the tablet thing I never did. But you just want to soothe them. And some people are like, hey, here's a phone, here's a tablet. Just kind of do your own thing over there. And you lose that connection. Like you said,
you lose the connection. Well,
with them doing something there.
I think this is great, right? This kind of sums up the whole night. And as a father, I think that this is important. It's an opportunity for us, right?
Yeah.
Because I think in today's society, if I'm being honest, if I look back, again, my kids are older, but if I look back, we lost so much time that we had when I was younger with my parents, my family. We lost so much time because of soccer and because of dance. It was a rarity that we were sitting at the table eating together. It was rare when my kids were, especially getting older. Didn't happen hardly at all, So where do you find that time to do this,
I think you can. I mean, I said you ball and things like that. I mean, sometimes you can just connect in the car. Hey, instead of driving when you're eating, which most of us do, and nobody on here drives with their knee or one finger or any of that stuff. I know, but like just pull over, like eat there, radio off, phone off. You can still use that. It's almost like and this analogy just can't. It's almost like people that are like, all right, am I going to? You want to be in the church and you want to fellowship and you want to be around other people, but sometimes you can't. You want to do that on a norm, be online or whatever that is, listen to it online. You want to be there. You can't always be at the table, but you can still teach and still connect and still do all those things no matter where you are. You just have to make sure that, those structures and those boundaries are in place. And I think that's probably the toughest thing. Cause like you said, Matt, you just go drive through, hit 7-Eleven, hit somewhere, boom, let's go. And then you're just talking, eating, and boom, out the door you go. And it's like, man, we just did, especially tournaments. Like you got a Saturday and a Sunday. You're like, man, I don't even feel like I saw you, but I watched you play 10 games this weekend. Like we ain't had a chance to, I've seen you, but we haven't had a chance to connect.
Yeah. I think there's a spot for spontaneity and to doing it in the moment to kind of use that as a teachable moment. But I think it's truly something to be said for a planned, dedicated time that's regimented. And I think, again, we have allowed our schedules just to dictate how we move instead of us dictating our schedules. And so, like, as a professional dad, as a father, as a parent, as ... whatever, fill in whatever blank you need to. I think the reason why I think it's so important to have a schedule time is because the other person who you're relating to has to know when they will have an opportunity to share something that might be heartfelt or may need to get off their chest or may need to vent, and sometimes we never know when those spontaneous moments are going to present themselves, or if we have the awareness to take advantage of it too, right? Because that's a two-way street. So again, like Sundays are our big day. Like we get up, we eat breakfast for sure, and then when we come home from church, we usually eat at home now since everything done got stupid expensive. But sometimes we will go out to eat. But Sunday is kind of like that day of rest, relaxation, where no one has typical schedules, that things they have to do until that evening. But I think having a dedicated time is just essential. Yeah,
that's good.
Especially being a father of girls, like I think they need.
They different. They different.
Yeah, they know that you're going to be there. Maybe I'm using that as an excuse because that's all I know too. But like, I think just especially the younger your kids are, We have to try to carve
Yeah.
out that time that's regimented.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Like last weekend, I went to watch UNC play, and it was cool because that there's 2 games this year I've gone over there, and me and Lainey have gone to the game together.
Cool.
And so that's pretty cool just to sit there and sit in the stands and talk with her and catch up with her because Tisha and her talk every day, regardless, every day. I talk to her every so often. It's just different. So having that dedicated time of sitting up there and the whole first half, she left at halftime, but it was that whole first half we caught up and we talked about life and all that, which was great to me. I thought it was cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
here we go. See what Amy says. So yeah, I mean, it's not all about the phones and all that, but it's important. The phones get in the way, the tablets get in the way, all that
It's the
all
noise. It's the noise, the distractions,
the
all that
noise
stuff.
gets in the way.
Yeah.
And it's just finding that separate time, whether that be, we're talking about dinner, we're using that as an example, but I'll go back and talk about like some of if you ask my kids what their favorite trip that we do is, it's just to go to the beach. Everybody grabs their chair. We go down on the beach and we just sit there. And there's no distractions. We're just talking. We're hanging out. Music's playing in the background, and it's just us. And that's my family love. We've talked about that before, man. We love a trip, but that's it because it's that we're forced at that point, somewhat, so to speak. If we go to the beach for a week, it's just us. We're hanging. We're talking. The distractions are gone, and I think you got to throw that focus in on the family nowadays, for sure.
Yeah, I do it in the car. I mean, I live 20 minutes from Hudson's school, so I can do it in the morning. Which he's not a morning person. You guys know I'm an all the time person most of the time, but I'm just getting him hyped in the morning. I'm like, bro, we going to school today? We got basketball trials. He's like, Dad, it's 7:20. I'm like, bro, let's go. You ready? You ready? You ready? You got this? And he's just like, I'm like, I'm sorry. I said, like, it's a way for us to connect. Like the music will be on lightly, the phone's away. He'll have his phone, whatever, sending pictures, whatever. But I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I talked to you this morning. I'm sorry. Like I'll play that whole thing with him, and he's like, Dad, it's fine. I'm like, hey, my bad. That's me. I'm sorry I touched you. I'm sorry I talked to you. He's like, it's fine. I'm like, are you grouchy? You grouchy? Like I'll pick with him like that. I'm like, bro, like just loosen up. It's good. Just try to have you have a good day or, whatever. It's just that. And then he'll give it back to me. But if not, like we could drive the whole way to school in silence. And I'm just like, this sucks. I want to connect with him, but he's not a morning person like that. So you get him out of school and then it's like trying to drink from a fire hydrant. I'm like, okay. That all went on today? Oh, the last hour.
That's funny. Sometimes when I hear you talking about Hudson, I sit and I think about what it's going to be like with Ethan being first out the gate because, he's going to be the first teenager, first, high schooler, all those first. And so now because of his age and height and size, he gets to ride in the front. And we were, coming back from the conference and Evan's still a mama's boy. So he's riding with his mom. So Ethan's sitting there and I'm looking over there. There's that silence, but I'm looking over there at him. I said, man, that's me. I'm just having this like flashback of, wow, man, that's my son. And he looks like me, and it's kind of crazy because I know, right?
Yeah.
But I was telling him, I said, I was reflecting on the conference. I know I was probably beating a dead horse and other things that I was saying to him, but I finally just looked over and I said, man, you got just one thing that's going to make the difference for you because everything else you got. Like if we talking about 9 out of 10 things, you got all 9 of them. I said the one thing is you just gotta stay focused. Just stay focused. Mm-hmm. You get that taken care of, sky's the limit for you. And he just looked over. He said, "Hey, Dad, thanks for believing in me." Yeah. And then we just went on the rest of the drive in silence. But I just kept looking over at him as I was popping the curves and just There's just something about it, because I hear y'all talking about, especially Matt, you and Josh talking about your sons.
Yeah.
In conversation, not to forsake your daughters, but it's just something about it, because obviously I have 2 boys, and I'm wondering quite a bit nowadays. What 2 years from now, 3 years.
Well, let me tell you something, Devo. It's you that said it. I know. I remember. I'm pretty sure. But you have your kids for a season, right? And the time you get to spend with them is so important. But so Braden, and she might be watching. I don't know if she's not. So there's no shade in this, but pre Riley, I talked to Braden every day. I mean, it was rare if a day went by that me and Braden didn't at least have a phone call or talk. It was constant. And she looked at me one time and she said it, and she was joking, but serious joking. She goes, "You hate me, don't you?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Because I took your best friend away from you." And I'm like, no. I'm like, "You witch, you damn good." Yeah. But there's some truth in that, and it's okay, right? It's okay because you want to see your son go forward and be happy, and he is. He's totally happy. She's wonderful. I love her. Like she's my own daughter, And but yeah, I don't talk to him every day. I talk to him a couple times a week, So you have your kids for a season, and how much can you pour into them in that season?
Yeah.
So can you like here? How often does your family sit together at the table? I'm sitting here and telling you guys, we didn't do it enough. We did not do it enough. I'd go back again every day, and now we find those times. I know why the trips are so important to my wife.
Yeah,
because we get to sit at the table for every day for a week.
Yeah,
and that's key. It's so key.
True. Well, some of those milestones, some of those milestones that you talk about, Matt, like a girlfriend, fiance, married, and all those things, and that Eric's going through. Like same thing with Hudson. Like he's gonna start. Like he's starting to drive now. He's starting sports teams, and it's like, hey, like the other night it was my weekend a couple weekends ago. So I usually get him Fridays after school, Saturday, Sunday, all that. He's like, "Dad, it's homecoming this weekend." He's like, "I'm trying to go to the game." I'm like, "All right, that's cool. Like we'll go to the game." He's like, and then homecoming's the next day. Mom's got all my stuff. Is it okay if I stay there? My friends, we're gonna do all stuff. I'm like, "Yeah, no big deal, dude." And he's getting to that age where it's like, all right, he's making a lot of those decisions. That's good for him. And it's taken me a while to go, but that's my time. And that's super selfish of me because it's not my time. It's his time. But I'm like, okay, like what time is pictures? What time am I coming over? What am I going to, communicate with his mom, communicate with him? Like, what am I bringing over? And I missed out on that weekend. But when it got to Sunday, when we talked, he's like, "Dad, the game was cool. We lost because we sucked. But the dance was okay. I danced, but all but 2 songs. He looked fly as Jordan's on his baby blue suit and all of his things.
Baby blue, baby.
But it's like, man, and I look back, I'm like, man, did my parents feel like that? Did I ever make my parents feel like that? So I try to think back and do all that stuff. And I'm like, you know what? Like, if that's what he wants to do, whether it's me or his mom or his friends or whatever, it's like he's starting to forge out all of those times in his life that what he wants to do. I mean, I can't be mad at that. I mean, then that brings it all back to how do you connect? How do you bring it back? How do you still teach? How do you still be relevant? How do you still stay in there? All those things too. So it's good. Be ready for those, Eric.
Look at Eric.
He's like,
I'm just saying,
Dad, could you park in the parking lot and I'll walk out to you and pull up to the curb? Wait till that one. You'd be like, "Nah, I'm pulling up to the front." Nah,
it's crazy because they have they don't start tryouts for basketball until next week, and he wants to try out for the middle school team. But the coach told him last night 6th graders don't get picked for the team, but he's still going to do it. And I said, man, go ahead and do it. Get the experience, man. Just go. They have this open gym tomorrow. He's super excited. And I said, hey. He said, "Dad, do you think I can make the team?" I said, well, coach has already said 6th graders don't make it. So I look at it like that's the standard, like that's the rule. 6th graders don't make it. But the fact that you're going to go, that probably just shows them that you're hungry, and maybe next year, they'll remember you or whatever. I said, but you could ball out, and they need a Chris Paul. I was looking at these eighth graders. I like, these dudes are tall, but I like his courage, and it's like I said, it's the time thing. I start to see things, and I knew this because every guy that I knew, schools I was working in that had kids that were middle school, high school at the time, they were like, dude, man, my kid is getting older. Time is going by so fast. If you ever decide to have kids, man, just wait till they get to middle school, and it's going to be like quick.
Yeah.
And now we're here, and every day is just like, it's crazy because he comes home and his brother runs out the door at 4:00 to go to the school bus, wait for him. It's so cool to see that.
Yeah.
He's just standing at the door. Dad, I'm getting ready to go out there, wait for you. Hey, okay, put your coat on. I get to see all those things. It's like, it's happening so quickly. And then, he's like, he'll come up to me like, hey man, can I put some cologne on? Like, Mom, you don't want you to wear no cologne. But then I'll get some body spray and I'll spray it, and I say, walk through it. And I'll walk through it, And it's like,
awesome. Wait till you smell like a TJ Maxx aisle. Like,
what's
going on?
So I mean, it's crazy because I want to say stupid stuff right now, but I feel like our table is mobile.
Yeah,
I feel like I have to
has to be.
Take the table with me. It's like, I dropped one kid off the other day because it was super cold, so that was Monday. And rather than going to Winston, I came back home to pick Ethan up to put him in the truck because it was warm, and I didn't want to be standing out in the bus stop. But Mom already had him, and then I turned around and went on in. So to me, it was like I brought the table back to the house to try to spend that time with him, And so, where we don't do a good job sitting at the physical table, having dinner every night like we've intended to do and have done at certain times, I just feel like I have to give myself grace. I have to give Aaron grace. I feel like we take that table where we are.
Yeah.
And we just, show up for conferences, the school night. Tomorrow I'm going to do tailgating for the dads for the last football game. And it's like, I'm bringing a table with me. I won't get to see Edmund because they'll have basketball after the football game is over. But it's just things you got to do. You got
the spontaneousness of it. Like you got to, if we got to go, then we need to make sure we bring that connection, that relativity. We got to bring all that stuff with us still. We may not be physically here, but we can still be. I think it's huge.
I think you're right. I think that's the norm nowadays.
Yeah.
You don't sit at the table. We didn't. But we had a lot of time in the cars together, going places and driving in the car and going to practice and doing all this and all that. You got to take advantage of that as a father and as a parent.
Yeah.
Especially as a father, I'm telling you, as a father, you have to.
And we saw it last year. I decided I'm going to coach again this year. I coached the boys basketball team last year. I had a lot of fun with that. When we think about the table, the way the leagues were set up by age, you'd play one game at like 10 o'clock, but you won't play the next one till 2 o'clock. And, we thought about, well, let's go back home and then come back. No, we stayed at the church, and we would sit literally in the fellowship hall, but they had all these tables sitting around, and we would just sit there and just, I'd love on one for the game that I said lost. I did say that.
Okay, positive Paul there.
Yeah,
exactly. Nancy, let's go.
Let me put some context to that. My 8U team lost every game last year, and my 10U team, we didn't lose with one game last year. So it was like I was like coach of the year and getting fired after the first season.
So exactly. At least you didn't get fired mid-season.
Man, nah. But I'm looking forward to that. And that's why I wanted to tell. I didn't want to kill Ethan's confidence about, no, you're probably not gonna make the middle school team, but hey, Dad's gonna coach the 14U this year. So we'll have that time to spend with one another, So
I think it's expectation too. I think the coach gave him a realistic expectation. You followed it up with some dad expectation. Like, look, it's probably what's going to happen. However, you could shock the world, go out there and play your butt off, and it looks good for this next year. It looks good for the coaches. They see your hustle. They see all that stuff. Because I think the same sixth graders, I mean, they get picked and they don't get picked. I mean, Hudson, they had 54 boys trial for the middle school team when he was in 6th grade.
Wow.
Like, you'll keep 12, 54, you're going to break 40 some of them hearts. I'm like, bro, you ain't making it. He's like, but Dad, I'm like, I'm telling you, you're not going to make it. They're just not going to pick. They're not going to pick any 6th graders. It's not anything to do with you, but that's so many kids and older and taller, and you haven't hit all that stuff yet. But good on the coach, and then obviously good on you to go, you can shock the world. Go out there and play your butt off. Good, look good for next year.
Hey, my high school coach at Sanderson High School in Raleigh is the coach that cut Michael Jordan when he was a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
At Laney.
At
High
Laney?
School. Yeah, at Laney High School. Yeah, he was the coach. He's
Sad.
famous for it. You're the jackass that cut Michael Jordan. Which is probably a good thing. Michael Jordan got cut.
That's the best thing that ever happened to Michael Jordan.
That's
Best
what
thing
lit the
ever
fire.
happened.
He's still mad about it.
This topic is just really, really, really good for the time, because it's not, for me at least, it's not just the time spent with the lessons learned and the time with your family, getting to spend that time at the table. For me, it's really just the lack of time I feel like I have, because it's going by so fast, and I appreciate it more. I live in a posture of gratitude more than I have in the last, say, 2 months, 3 months. I'm grateful for everything. And
awesome.
when it comes down to the kids, man, I'm just grateful for them, for just being their dad. And so, if I miss out on that time or whatever, I'm trying to find ways to do something else. It's like the t-shirt I did, Devo. Just something that I know is going to be different and weird. We're all going to be walking out somewhere and they're going to be like, what's that mean? and my podcast brothers know what it means, but my son knows what it means. So the family knows what it means, even if nobody else does. It's
Well,
just
I think
it's the time.
You took that thought process that he had of growth, and you just magnified it for him. So anytime he wears that shirt, he's going to have a different swagger about himself. He's going to have a different thought process about himself. And it's going to take that first person to say, what the heck does that mean? And that chest will puff up and he'll be like, well, it's because of this, 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 and this. And then that goes back to the dad moment, obviously, of what you've done. And you get, the t-shirt and all the things. And it's like, okay.
Well, it's emotional deposits. I mean, you made an artifact.
Yep.
To explain to him
100%.
how deep your love flows for him.
Yep.
Like,
true.
That's
true.
it. Bam, done. And a lot of times as parents, we get caught up in the wordsmith game. Like, we love to throw some verbiage out there, right? But action is a beautiful thing, bro. Action is a beautiful thing. And you doing that and not being prodded to do it, like, boy, you hung the moon for that kid, man. You hung the moon, brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
That's true. I want to tell y'all, like, I was thinking about earlier today, like, I read this thing and now we jump forward to not the kids, but talking about me and Tisha, and I honestly feel like today I read this thing about the 6 stages of a marriage. I need to send it to y'all, but it's the 6 stages of marriage. It's the honeymoon phase. It's the stages. It's where you're getting to know the person. You start to see their faults, and then the 3rd stage. Most people don't make it past the 3rd stage. That's when you are in a stage of, nah, this isn't what I signed up for. Right. And then, then you kind of go to the next phase where it's kind of like, well, we're kind of together. We've made it through this far, but the 3rd stage is where people quit. They quit on each other. This ain't who I signed up for. And then you get to the 3rd stage and you start to go, okay, well, maybe it is. And then the 4th stage is, okay, I love this person. I love them for who they are and who we become. And then the 6th stage, and we've all talked about this, is the legacy, the legacy that you have because your kids are growing and gone. Dude, I'm telling you what, like, this podcast has made me, it's helped like me and Tisha and the way we talk and the way we, the way we relate to each other. And we're in 5th and 6th, stage of who we are in our marriage. And man, I'm telling you, I was thinking that this podcast and the things that we talk about, this is really, so I appreciate y'all because I think it's made me reframe some of the things that I think about and all that. And when it comes to the marriage, not just the kids, because we're always talking about the kids, but the marriage and all that. And I think that's a good thing. It's so easy to not prioritize in life when you have kids, and we've talked about that a lot, not prioritize the marriage, you know,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're empty nesters and you're like, oh shit, it's just me and
Who
you.
the heck are you?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
curious,
Who let you
Matt.
in the house?
I'm curious, Matt. Like, what is all? And you'll send it to us. But what did it say is all happening in stage 3? I mean, is
Everything.
it like I'm trying to figure out? Like,
Shit
am I
crazy.
in 3 or 4? Like,
Is she crazy?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Yeah. I mean, I think you get to that point in stage 3, you're like, man, this is not, you know, from a man's side of the house. And we've talked about this a little bit before, you know, where you at on the priority list. I think a man sometimes in 3 or 4 going, man, this isn't what I signed up for.
Right.
You know,
Why am I all the way down? Why am I all the way down here?
Yeah. Why am I all the way
That's-
down here? You know?
And I was just wondering if that's like that, whether you have kids or not. You know,
Yeah.
is it finances? Is it lack of
It's
sex?
all of that stuff,
It's
Eric.
all that.
The way I looked at it, and I'll send it to y'all. The way I looked at it is, it's all of that stuff. It's the finances. It's the everyday, how you're getting along. You know,
Right.
it's the
Communication, all that.
the honeymoon phase. Let's be honest. You know, when it comes
Bingo.
to physical touch, yeah,
Because
You said bingo.
yeah,
I said,
yeah.
when we lived in
Yes.
Delaware, one of the first weekends that we found a church that we really rocked with, they said like it was either 52% or 62%. Either way, the number was high. Marriages ended in divorce because of finances and other things. But then they said, followed by that was that once the mom becomes an empty nester, she's like, my kids are grown and gone. I don't like this dude that I've been with. And so it's like
That's
more the moms were like that. So that's why I said it's stage 3. Like, is that like, you know, first 5 years of the marriage? Or could it be the first year of the marriage? Is it 20 years? Because some people run into that.
It's all over.
Yeah.
I think it's all over the place.
I think it's all over the place. I was telling Tisha.
He trying to do some action research, brother. Slow down. Slow
I
down.
was-
Just enjoy
Eric's
it.
like, hold on.
I'm trying to figure
It's okay.
where am I?
Don't rush it.
Yeah, we were talking about it
It's
last
coming
night, Tisha and I.
regardless. Just enjoy
Tisha
it.
and I
Am
were
I
talking
too?
about it a little bit last night, and I was telling her how, you know, we know a lot of people from the military, a lot of our friends that got divorced when it was time to get out and all that, because what ends up happening is when you're in the military and you're active and you're going and you're doing stuff, you know, there's a lot of attention on you because you're deploying, you're going to Afghanistan, you're going to Iraq, you know, there's all this support. And then the wives are getting that same support at the same time, right? They're getting that family and the wives clubs, and you know, you're getting the old Jody coming from down the street.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. Don't forget, you gone for 6 months.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I don't mean it that way, but you're getting a lot of positive support, right? And then all of a sudden you go to get out. And it's like what Josh said. It's like,
Yeah.
who is this guy? I don't know who this guy is. And I watched a lot of people get divorced. A lot of people get divorced. I was shocked. Some of the people I never would have thought would have gotten divorced got divorced. And,
Get divorced and get married. Like, I know so many of my fellow mates got married within the first year of meeting somebody. And I'm like, what? Like, you ain't even gone through 5 seasons yet. And you done gave her your bank account? Like, make that make sense.
Yeah.
Devo, you know, I was trying to do that when we was hanging out together trying to marry everybody I saw. That was my problem. Like, go to Tulapes and go to ETSU and
Stay away from Tulapes
Tulapes.
and quarter night at Savannah Jones.
No, I'll say to follow up what you said, Matt, on just the friendships in general. This podcast has helped with. I think everything we've talked through it. I think for me personally, just reeling things back of like, man, I wish I would have known, I could have done, or trying to rectify some things now. But it also has helped in all relationships, how I date or how I parent or how I parent my son or my daughter or talk to my friends or talk to my family. I think and a lot of people are like, oh, I didn't know you had a podcast, or what is it called? Professional dads, all that stuff. And I'm like, they're like, oh, well, I'm a woman or whatever. I'm not going to come on there. It's just for dads. It's helped me be a better dad, I think, a better man, a better employee, a better entrepreneur. It helped me be a friend, all those things just from being on here. So follow up to what you said. I think it's tremendously helped probably slow the thought process down to think more, to react differently, to act differently.
Yeah.
For sure. In all aspects.
Yeah.
It's like
For
the
real.
getting the stride of life.
Yeah.
You
Amy's question, though, I have one that constantly is forging new connections and one that doesn't. How do you help the kid who doesn't?
know. Oh, that's deep.
It's good. That is a deep one. I think I'll just say I don't know. I think it was an age thing. I think it's a male female thing. I think it's maturity. I think some of that stuff you can't really push that. Some people are, they're introverts. I think for a extrovert or extreme extrovert like I am, that doesn't compute to me. I'm with Amy. Like, how do you have a kid that like make other friends? My brother's not like that. My brother's not a extreme extrovert or even an extrovert. He's an introvert. He has that close group of friends, middle child's syndrome, close group of friends. I'll keep him for life. Doesn't really go out of his way unless he has to. Doesn't really self-admittedly. So I'm not saying it if he's watching or his wife's watching. Self-admittedly doesn't like people, but like
Yeah.
he's very introverted. He's very, in his ways, and he's got his box. But you just kind of have to let them forge their own friendships or relationships. And I think as a parent, you see, and maybe my parents did it too. Like you've Josh at this huge extreme personality, and then you have my brother that comes in, and then my sister's kind of in the middle somewhere. But it kind of fluctuates. So I don't know that I think you love them through it. I think you make sure that you're open and honest with them, communicate with them. Just the kind of stuff that we're talking about tonight is keep the connections, keep it open, love them, answer any questions you have. And they're emulating what they see too, not just from us as parents, but teachers or friends' parents too. So they're trying to figure it all out too in a crazy world that we didn't have to deal with. Nowhere near the stuff that they're dealing with.
I agree with you. Everything that you said, Josh and Amy, if I'd have looked at that question a year ago, I'd have really been focused on the how do you help the kid that doesn't, as if something was wrong with them, as opposed to the person's a little more social. And it's just that personality, that safety, that, developing trust a little slowly and trying to figure things out, just like you mentioned, Josh. Man, I think that's a safety thing that's a part of who they are, mechanism that just makes them who they are. They're a little more overly cautious and as social butterflies get burned all the time, we don't even recognize
100%.
the scars that we have on us because we're off to the next situation or whatnot.
We don't even realize when we're on fire half the time.
Yeah. And so to have a element of cautiousness, I can say now at 50, I'm more in the quality of relationships than quantity. Whereas 25 years ago, I've been stacking my chips, looking at my likes. Now it's just I'll take a handful over, So
Yep. Yeah, true.
I think my stab at that may be a little bit of a different spin. I think a lot of times when it comes to new connections, because I'm an introvert as well. Like I can talk to anybody for 5 minutes, maybe 8. But if we go a half an hour, like I'm done with you. Like I'm good. Unless we're talking about Carolina basketball.
Yeah, that went good
right
there. I got
so,
you.
but
Or Tuesday nights at 9.
we won, by the way. You guys up now, Josh.
Yeah, that's right.
So what I was going to say is I think a lot of times our kids are looking to us to help them take that first step. And so I think I said before, now I start to ask my daughter a lot of questions. Like, what are you into? What jazzes you up? What gets you excited? What geeks you out? And try to find that and find someone who may be an expert in that realm and then somehow try to draw a parallel. I think a lot of it is safety or just being nervous or fearful of just putting yourself out there. And that's something to be said for that. But I think they are also looking for us to help them make that first step. My girls were in Spanish immersion program. And so like one of them would speak Spanish all the time. And so what I would do when we would go to school, I would let her run the conferences. My other one, she is not outgoing and she ain't gonna talk to nobody. So we would go to Latino restaurants and I would make her order for the whole table in Spanish. Or else she had to pay for her own food. So those are some things that I would probably just try to do to ease that pain, that burden, and try to open the door a little bit for them. So.
Well, I'll say this is, I've talked about this before, but life has not always been as easy on Lainey as it was on Megan or maybe even Braden when it comes to friends. And girls can be mean. I mean, that's all there's to it. Girls can be brutal to each other. Um, but I've also, and I can, not that I could see the future, but maybe I could see the future because Lainey was me. When I was in college, I didn't go to bars. I didn't go out. I was quiet. I was pretty reserved, and
What?
I know, kind of shocking now that I'm like
Don't
doing
come
all
up the app.
that talking. I
Me
never
too.
shut up now.
Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah. But I was, it took me a year to talk to Tisha, to speak to her. But I could also see the future for Lainey. And when, you're going and you're the type, she's everybody's friend, but nobody's best friend. And when you're everybody's friend and nobody's best friend, that hurts sometimes because you just want a best friend. And so I've constantly been saying, you have a gift. God's given you a gift. People come to you and they have problems. Just embrace it, embrace it. Well, she's now in her senior year. She has a whole new group, a friend group that she was not necessarily friends with her first, second, third year in her sorority and all that. But it's the group of girls that they really kind of get along. And they're not worried about the girls that are in this rat race to be the most popular and all that. But now the ones that are, she said to me the other day, and I found it interesting at the football game, we're sitting there talking. She said, all these girls want to know what I'm doing now. They come to me all the time saying, what's going on? What are you doing? What's happening? And she goes, the first 3 years, they didn't ask me nothing. They could have cared less what was going on. But now that I'm in my zone and I'm doing my thing and I have good friends, now they want to know what I'm doing. And now they're trying to talk to me. And so Amy, the point is like each kid is an individual, and support them in that journey. And when they are hurting, because they will, when they do want that best friend, but they don't have one, just be there and support them. And that's the most important thing. That's what I did with Lainey a lot. And I don't think it was, she always appreciated what I was saying until now, right? Because she's like, you were right. You were right. You kept telling me I'm going to find my people. If I just relax, I'm going to find my, my groove. And she has, but it took a long time. It took to her senior year in in college, to do that. It's crazy. Girls are different. And I'm not saying it's your daughter or your son. I don't really know. In my case, it was my daughter, so it was being there and really supporting her through that and just, trying to always be present for her and all that, and where Tisha gets pissed off about it, I'm more of like, you're good. You're good. Keep trusting in God. You're doing the right thing. And I always taught, the last thing I'll say is I always said to my kids, I've beat this into them. And it comes from my father, right? The golden rule, do unto others, you have them do unto you. Always treat people with respect. Never say anything about anybody. If it would hurt your feelings, why would you ever say anything about anybody else that, would hurt them? And I'm like, you got to keep it. And sometimes you may want to say something, but no, you always take the high road, right? And so it's been a journey. It's been a huge journey for her. But I'm also very proud of how she handled herself and where she's at and where she's going. She's going to thrive when she gets out of college. Yeah. It's sad to say that I can't wait till she gets out of college so she can thrive.
Right. Well, I think because you see she was you, right? I mean, you can relate to her so much. And I think she's at that point where she's seeing that from you of back that, whenever you were saying it too. Same thing with us. Like I'm like talking to him about sports and I'm hearing my dad say all of those things to me. And I'm like, I wish you would just listen to what I'm saying. Yeah. But
they got to learn.
They've got to learn all that stuff. So I've gone from, Diva and I talk about it. We like professional horse beaters into the ground and all those things. But I have taken that to where like, I would like, listen, I'm trying to go and say it. And then it's pick the argument, pick the battle, pick the extra sentence or two and just go, okay. Like he's trying to forge it on his own and I'm trying to not get frustrated.
You want them to forge it on their own because you want to protect them so much because you love them so much, but you can't fix it for them. I can't go out there and fix it for them. I can only support them through the journey.
True.
Going through.
Yeah, the best thing we can do is teach them how to problem solve.
Correct.
And just evaluate and move forward. There was a comment that you had up here before this one, Josh.
Yeah.
and I didn't catch the name of the individual who put it up there. Stacey, Miss Frazier. She said some of my best friends didn't show up until I was an adult. And I was just sitting there thinking, some of my best friends still show up as I'm an adult. And I think E and I have had this conversation. And actually, let me stop. I don't want to put any words in his mouth because it may say something that's a little controversial real quick. But, love my fraternity brothers to death. I'll do anything for them. But when I was at App, there was a group of 4 of us that hung together. And 30 years later, we still kicking it. And so like that's to me, that's when you've connected, you've done well, that you've picked somebody who's solid and salt of earth, and someone who'll call you out in your shit and then pick you up and be like, it's gonna be okay. Right. And so like like it comes, like it eventually it will weed itself out. And that's okay. That's that process. That's that problem solving that I was talking about. That's what's really, really important, I think.
Yeah.
Well, it happens. We're parents differently. We parent kids differently. Their personalities are different, and it could be they can meet a best friend in 6th grade. They can meet a best friend in 35. That's the beauty of the fluidity of life and moving. There you go, fluidity. I don't know if that's a word. I just made it up. If it isn't,
yeah, sounds good. Keep pushing.
I like it. It's a word to me.
It's a word.
Y'all know what I was saying, but it moves. I mean, life moves so fast with move or jobs or schools or sports or whatever. It's like, man, you can't protect them from every single thing. And they, like you said, Debo, problem solve. I can't fix it. I can't fix that for you. I can't fix that for you tomorrow. Like fun. And it's funny. You were talking about Spanish. I know we're at serious time, but I'll hit with this. So Hudson's in Spanish too, right? Okay. Spanish 2. When I was in Spanish 2, you spoke all Spanish. So we're on the way to school this morning. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I talked to you before 7:30. I'm doing the whole thing. I was like, let's pull your grades up. Let's pull the grades up. So we pulled the grades up. I'm like, a B? You got a B, and he's in college trigonometry as a sophomore. I'm like, a B? What are you doing? I was like, look, I ain't even been able to help you with your math homework since 5th grade. But in Spanish, he's got a B. And I'm like, go through those. So he's going through the assignments. One of them is like, as an F. 0 out of 3 F. I'm like, Hudson, what happened? He said, I thought I was going to drive off the road laughing this morning. He said, well, she gave us the assignment, and I did it in English and turned it in because I thought she had it done in English. I'm like, it's Spanish class. Why the heck do you think you're going to do it in English? And that reminded me of you telling your daughter, like, hey, we're going to the Mexican restaurant. Like, we're going to order in Spanish. I'm like, what? But why would you think you'd have to do it in English in Spanish class? It's like, you going to go speak Spanish in your English class? He's like, then I got the smile out of him. And it kind of like broke that ice of like, then he said, hey, how many years did you take Spanish? Can you speak it? Then we started going back and forth. But it's some of that connection piece. And what Debo said, Debo's going to beat that horse like, hey, you're going to order. I will sit here all night, but
we'll starve.
Yeah.
We'll starve, but you're going to order. And it's just that how to do that connection. And that was a little different, a little weird. But I'm like, bro, you turned it in English. Like, what's going on? But it led to a beautiful last part of the drive where we were able to connect and talk about when I took Spanish and all that stuff. So you just never know. It's the same thing with the person. You just don't ever know when that spontaneity or spontaneousness is going to happen, be able to do that.
Yeah. Hey, I added this in there, the lesson learned, because we're coming up to the end of the time. I added, or car ride, right? We've kind of established that, right?
Yep.
The table's great, but we can't always be at the table. So the car ride, whatever you can make it happen. If it's at the basketball game, in between games, in the hall there, sitting at the table, man, you got to find your times as parents, and you got to be present, and you got to have those conversations. You got to, have the serious conversation. We got to also have the, gratitude in there. And
for sure,
that's good. I think that's good, man. It's, can we find the time to be present for our family, and that's so important. All right. Weekly challenge here, go out and have it, have 3 intentional conversations, with your kids, with your wife, you know, and all that. Whoever it is, you know, be meaningful in what you're doing with your intentions and
Good.
all that.
Can
All
we
right.
sandbag in this?
Yeah.
I mean, I made shrimp and grits last night and had a pretty good conversation. So
There we go.
I need to get credit for at least one of those.
Yeah, that's good. You can take
Mondays count.
You go back.
Mondays count
Monday
on
count.
Matt's
Monday
Christmas
count.
challenge.
Right?
They count.
Shrimp and grits,
We
though.
need 2 from you, Devo.
Yeah.
6
yeah.
days to get 2 more.
Exactly. All right, let's go around. Eric, what's your final thoughts on today?
Looking forward to at least getting 2 of the meals taken care of this week. I can do that. I'm looking at the challenge. I'm when we put the challenge.
Ride.
We're not giving you credit for
Devo's.
Devo's. That says 3. I know you can read that.
I know,
You need
right?
to be in Spanish.
3. That's Trace. 3. Trace.
Nah, I can do that. I'm excited about the challenge. I can do that. Really quickly, I love being with you guys. Just simply put, I always learn something. I walk away and learn something from you guys because you have older children. And I intentionally lean into the things that y'all are experiencing. I laugh at Josh, you and Hudson. It's almost like I'm sitting there like a fly on y'all's drive. I can so see that, me and Ethan. And Devo, I love you girls, man. I just love what you and Heather continue to do and pouring into your daughters, man. And obviously you, Matt, with your 3. So this has just been great for me to just know that they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. It's just going to take some time.
Yeah.
And they're going to be fine because they got you as a dad.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
They got a good mother.
Well, they do got a good mom, but they got a good dad too.
Great mom.
She powerful.
Yeah, she's strong. She's strong. I mean, I ain't trying to say she's stronger than you, but I ain't gonna go there. But yeah, she's strong. I mean,
Hold on.
She's strong.
I mean,
she's strong.
What about you, Devo?
Yeah, so mine's gonna be a little different. Huge shout out to the Johnson family today. Everett Johnson, he was a guy who I had an opportunity to work with in Durham. Today he was laid to rest, and if you look at his obituary right here, it says the celebration of life, and I think that's just so powerful. Had an opportunity to attend the funeral, and I turned the corner, and Siri said parking lot 0.6 of a mile on the right. And as soon as I turned the corner, you saw cars lined up on both sides. And so I think as a professional dad, I think about legacy. This guy was heavily involved with our school. Like, he was a watchdog dad. He helped me do traffic in the morning. I remember when I first got to Durham. If you ain't from Durham, you don't know Durham. And even if you are from Durham, you probably still don't know Durham. He just kind of sat me down and broke me in and shared some of the rules with me. And he was a father. I know he had at least 2 kids. EJ is his son. And just being a strong man of God who just set the foundation, who loved everybody, who was just selfless and wanted to make sure not only was his son taken care of, but all the kids in our school, all 650 of them, were also taken care of. And so today we lost a good one. And I just hope that when the good Lord calls me home, that my legacy speaks half as good as his, and that I continue to do the work each and every single day to get the job done. Not only being a father to my kids, but being a father to other kids too that we come across, whether it's the basketball team, whether it's at the airport, whether it's on our live, on our stream, or whatever the situation is, that we just continue just to speak truth, man. Just to speak truth and grab your brother and hold him tight. And if he's doing something stupid, let him know in a loving fashion and try to give him a little piece of sound advice. But just always be encouraging and always show gratitude for life. So I send my love to the Johnson family tonight, and just thank God for Everett Johnson Sr. that I had an opportunity to work and be in his footsteps and his grace and his presence, and allow him to teach me some things about being a man and being a strong father.
Well, Josh, I think that's the best way to go out right there. We're not going to follow that up. Prayers for him and his family. And hopefully, like you said, all of us are that kind of man for our friends and our family and our loved ones. So rest in peace, like Natasha says, and yeah, God bless him. So he's standing by the Father today. So that's
Yes,
all.
sir.